Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Thursday, July 23rd. I hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday so far. We've got your top headlines for you from WKYC.com and our WKYC app in your early update for today. We're going to be talking about President Donald Trump sending federal agents to Cleveland, why he says he's doing that, and what criminal justice experts have to say about that reasoning, as well as the first unemployment increase at the national level since March, what Olympic organizers are saying exactly 1 year out from the rescheduled Summer Olympics. We have an update for you on the name for the Cleveland baseball team, and also a look at what opening day will look like tomorrow when our Cleveland baseball team takes on the Kansas City Royals at Progressive Field. First, let's start off with what President Donald Trump is saying about sending federal agents to Cleveland. The White House says that they are sending them here, but the city officials here said they are unaware of that. More federal agents are being sent to Cleveland. This is part of a U.S. Department of Justice initiative. The White House says this is, quote, to quell the unacceptable levels of recent violence in U.S. cities. However, in Cleveland, officials say they are not aware of any more federal authorities coming to the city. This is what officials said. They said the city of Cleveland has not been made aware of any additional federal law enforcement officials coming to the city. The Cleveland Division of Police has in the past and will continue to partner with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies to combat violent crime in our neighborhoods. In January of this year, the Division of Police announced the Relentless Pursuit Initiative, which is designed to combat violent crimes in our neighborhoods with our federal, state, and local partners. We don't know exactly how many agents the White House plans to send to Cleveland or exactly when the White House plans to do that, but numbers in other cities have been in the hundreds of federal agents arriving. They are already in Portland, Oregon, and are next expected to go to Kansas City, Chicago, and Albuquerque before expanding into Cleveland, Detroit, and Milwaukee. Now, local authorities, where those agents already are, have said that an increase in federal agents has actually only risen tensions in the streets. Risen is not a word. Exacerbated is maybe a better word there. The first surge of officers to Portland was criticized heavily, and there were reports of agents in unmarked cars taking people away without probable cause, has led to a lot of people questioning whether this is actually legal, what has been happening. President Donald Trump's move here is part of something called Operation Legend. He has developed this operation and claimed that there is, quote, a radical movement to defend, dismantle, and dissolve our police department. Now, you may have heard conversations about people calling to defund police. This is something that has gained more national attention following the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis on Memorial Day. Now, there is a distinction between dissolving and dismantling the police and defunding the police. Many of the people who are calling to defund the police are actually calling to shift community resources, not to completely dismantle the police, although there have been calls to do that in some places. Minneapolis was one of them, where they wanted to completely shake things up and do something different than a police department. But defunding the police doesn't necessarily mean dismantling the police, depending on where you are and who you're talking to. Trump's initiative, Operation Legend, got its name from Legend Taliaferro, which is a 4-year-old boy who was shot and killed in Kansas City late last month. Yesterday, President Donald Trump said this: "My first duty as president is to protect the American people, and today I am taking action to fulfill that sacred obligation." Now, people have noted that the cities that are being targeted by Trump to send these federal agents are almost exclusively controlled by Democrats. And President Donald Trump, who is a Republican, is claiming that there is a rise in violent crime as a result of the, quote, radical left. Criminal justice experts, however, disagree with that. They call those remarks oversimplified, and they point out that crime is actually down this year overall when you look at the big picture. Department of Justice officials also were trying to stop people's fear of troops, quote, roaming the streets, saying that officers being sent would now take more of a behind-the-scenes role and wouldn't necessarily be on foot in the streets. We will, of course, keep you updated on that as soon as we get any more information about when those agents are expected to arrive and the numbers that they are expected to arrive in, and anything we learn about the role they plan to play here in the city of Cleveland. Now, at the national level, the new U.S. unemployment claims have risen for the first time in the U.S. since March. The number of Americans across the U.S. who applied for unemployment benefits rose last week for the first time since we became aware of the pandemic impacting us here in the U.S. at home in March. There were 1.4 million new unemployment claims filed in the U.S. last week. Now, that's up from 1.3 million the previous week. To give you a little bit of context there, before the pandemic, the number of weekly unemployment applications in the U.S. had never exceeded 700,000. So we are double that. We are double what we have never exceeded in the U.S. prior to the pandemic. Now, that number does not include people who became eligible for unemployment benefits under the expanded Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. These are people who are 1099 employees, gig workers, independent contractors, small business owners, people who are self-employed. An additional 975,000 people applied for jobless aid under that separate program for the very first time. Now, that figure is not adjusted for trends, so we don't have anything to compare that to, but it's a very big number. In Ohio, there were more than 30,000 new unemployment claims filed last week. Now, at the peak of unemployment here in Ohio in the pandemic, there were more than 274,000 new unemployment claims filed in a single week. And there were more than 423,000 continued unemployment claims filed last week. That number of continued unemployment claims in Ohio peaked at more than 775,000 in a single week throughout this pandemic here. In Ohio, over the past 18 weeks since we first became aware of the pandemic being present here in Ohio, COVID-19, there have been more than 1.5 million people who have filed unemployment claims in Ohio over the past 18 weeks. Now, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services said that of the more than 1 million applications, 94% have been processed and about 6% are still pending. Now, if you are one of those people with a claim pending, listen up to this. This is the last week, unless Congress acts to extend it, that you will be able to get that additional $600 from the federal government. So if you have a claim that's pending, it's not necessarily clear if you file after this week, if you'll be able to get that $600 from the federal government. So this is a good time to get your ducks in a row. Maybe call the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services if you need to make a call to do anything, if you need to backdate that unemployment claim. And if you need to do that, we have the call center and the number and the hours on WKYC.com. I'll say them for you here, but they're listed on the website. That number is 877-644-6562. Again, that number is 877-644-6562. You can call them every single day. The hours Monday through Friday are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays, and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sundays. So you're going to want to make sure you get that call in. The state says it has distributed more than $5.5 billion in unemployment checks to more than 757,000 claimants. And ODJFS has paid out more than $4.4 billion in pandemic unemployment assistance to more than 474,000 people. A lot of people needing some help. Make sure you get those claims in before the end of the week just to be on the safe side. Nobody wants to miss out on those additional benefits that you are entitled to. Of course, we are waiting to see now that Congress is back in session if they will act to extend that federal supplement to the state unemployment benefits. Now, today we are officially 1 year out from the Summer Tokyo Olympics again. The 2020 games are now set to begin on July 23rd, 2021, but organizers have made it very clear that they will not postpone it again. They will actually cancel it if they are not able to have the games next year beginning on July 23rd, 2021. Now, last year, when we were a year out from when the Olympics were expected to happen, there was a big celebration. There were fireworks. There were local celebrities. This year, they took a very different approach. Instead, they had a 15-minute event with no fans present inside the new national stadium, and they screened a video to promote next year's opening. They also teased the presence of the Olympic flame, which arrived in Japan in March, but has been hidden away ever since, understandably. Now, a recent poll in Japan says that many Japanese citizens are skeptical that the games should go ahead, and they doubt that they will. The poll showed that almost 24% favored holding the Olympics, but 36% said they should be postponed again, and about 34% said the Olympics should just be canceled. The summer 2020 Olympics should just be canceled and not happen next year. The president of the organizing committee, Yoshiro Mori, said in an interview when he was asked if the COVID-19 situation continues as it is, if it's possible to hold the games, he said, if the current situation continues, we couldn't. But he is optimistic about a vaccine and hopeful that the pandemic will become under control by this time next year. So if we do have those things in place, then the Olympics will take place exactly 1 year from today, and we'll all be very excited for that. Cleveland's baseball team is giving us an update on its process to decide whether it will change its name. Basically, in a statement released, owner Paul Dolan said that talks continue. They do understand that they need to move quickly, but they also want to make the conversations that they know they need to have as meaningful as possible, so they are taking the necessary time to do that. In the statement, Dolan talked about the commitment to listening and learning from our community and said that the team appreciated the passionate response over the past several weeks, and boy, have people been passionate about it, from everyone saying that they don't want the name to change to people suggesting possible alternatives. We've talked about a lot of those alternatives. Our 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod broke down several of them for us. He talked about the case for the Cleveland Guardians, the Cleveland Spiders, which is not my favorite option at all, the Cleveland Buckeyes, the Cleveland Naps, and also the Cleveland Baseball Club, which would be a nod to European football. We call that soccer here in America. Lots of different options out there, lots of people very passionately making their opinions known. So Dolan said that the organization plans to hold meetings with Native American leaders, among other stakeholders, to discuss that matter. He says that they will share periodic updates as they make progress. And he said, as he explained to the players, Dolan said this: I am invested in engaging our community and appropriate stakeholders to help determine the best path forward with regard to our team name. He went on to say that the players care about the organization and feel strongly about social justice and racial equality, and that he does support their interest in using their platforms to unite our city of Cleveland and our nation through their actions. This statement comes 1 week after Washington's NFL team announced that they will be retiring their name and logo, which included a word that is considered highly offensive to the Native American and indigenous population. So they have not yet come forward with a new name, but they did make the decision to retire that name and logo and are moving forward. Now they're in a different position because the NFL season isn't supposed to start until September 10th. However, Cleveland is supposed to kick off its season on Friday, so we can definitely expect to see them in the jerseys we've been seeing them in with the current name still on there. Now, Terry Francona said that he publicly does believe a name change is the right move, and his son Nick Francona wrote a column for GQ calling on the team to do even more than that, to transfer ownership of the trademark of the controversial Chief Wahoo logo to an organization that supports advocacy for Native Americans and indigenous people who have had their likeness appropriated by sports teams. But as we said, the Cleveland baseball team is in a different position than the NFL football team because they are opening their season on Friday. And we do know what opening day will look like now. It's going to be a little bit different, of course. There will be no fans in the stands on Friday when our baseball team takes on the Kansas City Royals at Progressive Field. But there will still be some familiar staples. There will be a ceremonial first pitch. They pre-recorded this first pitch. It's going to be thrown out by Aleda Wisner, who is a Cleveland Clinic caregiver from the Fairview Hospital Medical Surgical COVID-19 unit. There will also be a performance of the national anthem. This has been pre-recorded and performed by the string section of the Cleveland Orchestra. God Bless America will also be played, a pre-recorded version of that also played by the Cleveland Orchestra. And there will be a pre-taped introduction of some of the Cleveland Clinic's frontline heroes. This is sponsored by Frito-Lay. There will also be pregame moments honoring social justice initiatives and a moment of silence for all the lives that have been lost in the COVID-19 pandemic to date. And the game starts at 7:10 p.m. for that matchup against the Kansas City Royals. We have a special edition of What's New at 5 p.m., and we'll have coverage leading up to that. Of course, we'll have our normal news broadcast at What Matters Most and some special coverage at the beginning of Front Row. And then the game starts at 7:10 p.m. You can watch that right here on Channel 3, your home opener station. That's it for your 3 News Now early update for Thursday, July 23rd. I'll be back here at 3 p.m. with those new numbers from the Ohio Department of Health related to COVID-19 here in the state of Ohio and the rest of the stories that are topping our headlines on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I'll see you back here in a little bit. I'm Stephanie Haney.